about Josh Allen, you have to talk about his greatness. You have to talk about the ways that he keeps the Buffalo Bills in the games. But if you're going to talk about that, you also have to talk about the fact that he let the Jets back in the game 2 weeks ago.
That's fair.
That he let the Minnesota Vikings back in the game and actually gave it away at the end with an interception to Patrick Peterson. And Josh Allen is everything that everyone says about him positively. And I think he believes that. I think he wants that. He wants to continue to show that. And that's why we get mistakes. That's why you have Josh Allen throwing into coverage. That's why you have Josh Allen throwing into the end zone on 4th down and not being able to make a play. It's because he can do everything. Yeah. And sometimes the people that can do everything don't want to do the simple things.
Sure.
The people that can do everything don't want to take the check down, as Dan mentioned on Get Up. They don't want to throw the football away. Mm-hmm. They always believe there is a play to be made. And what defenses are doing now is saying there is a play to be made, but it's not the big one.
Right.
There is a play to be made. It's not the one that's going to get you a touchdown right now. There is a play to be made. It's not the one that's going to make you the star of this game. And so Josh Allen's going to have to come to a point to where he says, you know what? I can take what you give me. And we've seen him do that before, and that's the part that's perplexing. He knows how to do it. It just seems like when it gets in crunch time, he refuses to. And if Josh Allen doesn't change this, he's going to take this team at the beginning of the season, we felt like it was the Buffalo Bills and everyone else. Now it's like the Buffalo Bills kind of look like everyone else. Mm-hmm. And this is the team that's now in a position where they're third in the AFC East behind the Dolphins and the Jets. That's something we never expected to say this season.
I'm not overly concerned with the interceptions. I'm not. I honestly believe I got a pretty good feel. I don't know him personally that well, but who this young man is. And while he's incredibly talented, he cares, he's wildly competitive. And Buffalo always say this about Josh, or to Josh, go with the ball where your eyes take you. And I think he does a very good job of that 99% of the time. And to RC's point, there are moments when he tries to override what his eyes are telling him. And at times that works. I've dealt with this with Matthew Stafford.
I was going to ask you that question.
Saw it with front and center with Matthew Stafford. I've shared that conversation many times, like, Matthew, why are you making that throw? Because I can and you can't. You know, last year with Patrick Mahomes, a little bit on the back end of 2020, and then last year, Patrick, why are we forcing these throws? What's wrong with Patrick Mahomes? And these guys kind of got to go through this. When they're super talented, they got to go through to realize that they got to be very strategic with the way they go about their decision making. I always say this when quarterbacking, don't make a good decision. I can make a good decision. Make the right one. Make the right one. Make the right one. The right decision in that overtime throw yesterday is that check down that we talked about. It's not sexy. It's not flashy. Every quarterback that's ever played football can do it. But Josh, in that recoil moment, chose not to. What I am more concerned about with Buffalo is this. Because I think Josh will get the interceptions and the crucial moments figured out. I honestly do. In moments, defenses are going to dare this offense to say, we will take the ball to your best player's hands, and you are going to have to run the football. Yesterday, they had 2nd and 2, 3rd and 2. And then in another moment, they had 2nd and 2, 3rd and 2, and 4th and 2. And those 5 plays down in the red zone, they ran the ball 1 time. They got 3 points out of those 5 plays. Similar to the playoff game last year with Kansas City and Cincinnati, they're just going to say, you're not going to throw it on us. You're just not. We're going to force you to be diligent and disciplined enough to do it. And are you capable of? I'm more concerned about that with Buffalo than Josh's interceptions. I got nothing but faith in that young man.
Right.
He's got to figure it out. I believe he will.
This is the problem. Let me give you some insight from a reporter's perspective, because we walk into a locker room and we talk to y'all or whatever, and the smart reporters understand we didn't do what y'all did. You understand? We're there to chronicle things as we see them and based on what y'all teach us about your profession. If I'm a reporter and I'm covering the Buffalo Bills, I'm worried about Josh Allen because of his confidence, because of his risk, you know, the risky kind of things that he's willing to do. Some would label it hero ball, but I always think that's a negative connotation because it implies that you're trying to be the hero and you just want to be the guy as opposed to doing what it takes to win for your team. I would never accuse him of that. But I do believe that he believes it's me or nowhere else. Like, to him, even playing yesterday, we look at a Case Keenum. Here's my problem. Now, it didn't end up bad in terms of his injury. But I'm not taking the chance of putting Josh Allen on the field yesterday. When you say it's a UCL injury and it's your elbow and I got 8 games to go or whatever, I'm not playing you yesterday. I'm not acting like I got to win this game or else. Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.